Riperile vakahina. Minjani gogo?
Thokozani mkhulu, cama kukhehla.
Madume, mategwana, vana vashu. Sanbona, Bahlali. It is 16th of June in South Africa. Well, everywhere in the world. It's the 16th of June, and it's a youth day in South Africa. You know, marked around the uprisings by the students in Soweto. So we seated Nokoko namhlanje to commemorate, to pay tribute, releboge, ukubonga, to remember. What else could go?
For me, when government decided to change the June uprising to Youth Day,
Yeah.
they did a massive disservice to the following children,
To the youth.
because the class of 76 were influenced by Steve Biko, all the politicians, all of them,
Well, the genuine ones, anyway.
all of them, genuine or those who left. the
I
reason why they joined.
remember.
So for me, the class of 76 understood 1960, March 21st.
Oh,
They understood the Rivonia tribe.
the Rivonia trial.
They understood Sobukwe, Apla, MK, the Mandelas. They understood the influence carried over.
When you mentioned that, Koko, sorry to cut in. When you mentioned that, I remember the Long Walk to Freedom. In fact, Musuiwa Lokota was in that mix. Please carry on.
So when we remove the real reason why we are celebrating today, the youth of today don't have OCC or booty.
There's no.
They can look up and say that this person's life touches mine.
Arena leadership. You don't think the likes of Julius or Figile
Impactful. The class of 76 were school children.
meaningful impact?
They were impactful. Julius could have been influenced by them as well.
Yeah, of course.
Or everybody gets to be influenced by somebody.
Julius is our age group.
No, yours. So the influence.
Okay.
And what it does to a person that comes after you to know that a being like the class of 76, just like me, studied at Lokshini, had an interest of making sure that I don't get to be educated a mother tongue that doesn't belong to me. So they gave their lives for us to be able to have these freedoms.
Any particular special mentions could go?
Okay.
In the class of 76, of course.
I've listened to his speech, his clarity, his love.
Of what
depth,
they want.
What they wanted. Yes, he may be the face of the class of 76. However, they were Sibongile Mthembu, I'm forgetting Aubrey, and Seth, and many others who sat and said, must not have this, they must not carry this burden.
They must not go through what we're going through.
I think that is why they always say that the youth, the revolution is always at the head of the youth. Because babonile abazali babo leaving home at 4, coming back at 7, tired. They were not educated enough. They understood about sihleli on top of each other in the townships. They understood why they had to nabo babeke induku ebandla. So I'm very thankful.
Very interesting you should say that, because even in the ANC itself, remember the Mandelas were the youth.
Yes.
It is actually always the youth that say.
I'm not sure who said about the revolution is always in the hands of the youth. Because
the Mandelas were the youth.
Abazali bethu bayahlupheka. Abazali bethu, we can't be this kind of parents as well.
No, we can't.
We can't be this kind of parents as well. So change becomes, they are the change agents. Yeah.
With that said, Coco, do you think we're seeing the impact? Are you satisfied with what we're seeing today?
Our youth, our children, not our youth, our children, are not as mentally aware in comparison to the children of Kenya.
Kenya, for example.
Kenya, those children marched and said, no more IMF.
No more loans.
You are burdening us with these loans.
Because you're going to live and these loans are ours.
Yes, and you're not teaching us how to make use of our resources. So I find it deficient in our youth. In that recently, our government got 26 million from the IMF. During COVID, we got I don't know how many billions that went unaccounted.
No one knows what they bought.
And AG for me becomes, how did AG audit that? What findings did they find? How do they trace the money?
Where is the money?
Where is the money? So I find our youth, I find us as parents. I would love to believe the parents of the 60s that gave birth to the 50s and 60s that gave birth to the Machininis spoke life into their kids. Kunzima.
So we could also have a role to play.
We've surrendered.
We've given up.
We've surrendered. We've surrendered. We've bought into the, what do you call, the Rainbow Nation, the Born Frees. Nothing, there's no Born Free. You can't just...
We were dehomed.
It's similar with religion. It comes when everything has happened, then in the beginning. But how can it be beginning when life has already been continuing? So when you can be born free, when your parents were not born free for centuries, you can't be born free.
Can't be free.
It's all about public, the PR way. They just buy the faces and market nonsense.
So Thandiswa is telling the truth when she says, "Zilibele."
See,
we're forgotten.
The disconnect with our ancestors comes from that. When you're no longer understanding why it is of importance to venerate your ancestors, not just your blood ancestors, your collective ancestors. Amakabe Sizwe. We have been. It's a disservice to what has happened in South Africa. If you were to look at the youth from before the 83s, I would think would have been the most violent, active from the 76. It's a matter of time that it will get to that level. It accumulates to a point where it loses reason and logic. So the 83 kids, I understand.
You said something that reminds me of a line someone said, a phrase, that the difference between us and our parents is that our parents always knew, without a single shred of doubt, that they were not free. Whereas we are made to think.
We're made to believe because
we are free.
Our children can go to private schools.
We've been given a pacifier.
We can work.
In the form of affirmative action, BE.
Yes.
And this land program that's not going anywhere.
It's been talk and talk and talk.
And then there's a TV, but the TV is also...
There's too many stimulants to suppress
There's the radio. You've got a lot of people on the radio talking American.
But there's nothing wrong. I really find it offensive at times because when you compare civil rights and if you were to do a study of all the dysfunction that happened in America and you compare that to where we are right now, you will find that it's as if the system is teaching that this worked in America.
Yes.
The welfare.
Yeah.
The drug issues. Everything happened. I think the drugs in America were high in the 80s during Reagan. They are high right now in South Africa during a black government. They were not as high during the white government. So they are literally saying that we were better than you because we didn't have as much drug issues. And they are responsible for the shipment. No black man or black woman has the value chain of getting drugs from wherever to South Africa.
No.
So the system knows how to forever pitting blacks against it's black on black violence. So if you were to truly compare all the dysfunction of breaking a black man and a black family and a black woman, go to America and see that where are we South Africa in comparison to them. Always remember that. America becomes the stage of the dehumanization, the devaluing, the breaking. Then they took the script
from America everywhere, and then modified it wherever they were
to fit that purpose. If
you said this last week.
Yes. So right now, Everything that has happened in America is happening in South Africa.
So the problem I have when I say people are speaking American
Yes.
is that we are there's this American deflection. It's almost a gateway. It's almost a pass into circles. If you speak American,
Why do you speak American? Because they speak English. They don't speak any other language unless they are.
You know when Mzekazeke says, people come and say, "Yeah, my man, yeah, my man." He's been misunderstood. I don't want to say geotage because it's not a good example of him. It's not a. We're being fed American TV, music, fashion, if you will.
Remember, Mkulu, the system again. It will. I asked you to read a speech. Let's make a slave. As long as you have blacks fighting amongst themselves, the system continues. That is the objective of the system. We go back to Cloudy when he said, our musicians must get better airplay because the ear has not been fed R&B, rap. Oh, I love rap. You know, the ear, well, Scholar Camp, I love rap. So if the ear has only been fed American music, the ear cannot recognize its own rhythm, its own native rhythm. It won't appreciate the native.
That's where I was trying to go because our youth now.
When Cloud was literally pushing for that,
yes.
he was saying our musicians, our children,
our bystanders
are not benefiting from their talents. We are not playing their music. We're not giving them the same airtime. The pain of that is someone can get a talent because we are not used to hearing their music. They'll starve.
And this is Coco without me saying there's nothing we can learn out of America. We've learned a lot, right? I mean, the likes of Pac, Tupac Amaru. It is a disservice as well that we have not yet gotten to understand what the likes of Pac were. We still look at them as musicians.
Tupac was beyond a musician, a rapper.
He was not a musician.
An artist, a poet. A future.
He was a prophet.
He was a dynamic little star on earth.
He was a freedom fighter.
When people say we are product of our environments, for Tupac, that is completely true. And he lived it. He sang about it. He wrote about it. He acted about it. He embraced and embodied all that the system created him to be.
There's a speech by Afeni Shaku. This is now the mom. She explains why she named him Tupac Amaru Shaku. So
the one who does not go so much into the U.S. history of Black Americans and correlated to our own.
No, but it's important you understand.
I'm joking. I take it back.
It's very important you understand that. Pac was a phenomenon beyond America. And we'll go into numerology one day when, time allows.
Yes, I would love, like right now, Uko Kundombi, she is a superb, gifted, I may not pronounce the word properly, numerologist.
Numerologist, yeah.
Tupac was born 5 years before the uprising in Soweto. I wonder how will she use the numbers to decode the spiritual significance of.
It's gonna boil down to his life path, his birthday.
Yes, and for this to be happening, for him, and
listen to what Afeni says.
Yes, explain. I will be quiet.
Mama Afeni says, "I named him Tupac Amaru, hoping that he embodies the spirit of Tupac Amaru II." Now, Tupac Amaru II is a revolutionary out of the Inca tribe, the old Colombia in the South America. So the Inca tribes are like the natives of South America. When we say the Spanish, we just don't understand who.
We're not narrowing it down to the true natives.
Yeah, the true natives. Tupac Amaru II is a revolutionary that freed the Inca people in the Americas. And she names her son. And remember, Afeni was in
In
the Black Panthers.
Black Panther, yes.
She is a revolutionary herself,
So.
a freedom fighter,
Mm.
and hopes that this one is the one that will bring change to America.
Mm.
And she bestows the title on her son. And little did she know
That he would live up to his name.
that the universe was listening.
Nkulu, people, like, if we were to look to our names, there would be some spiritual meaning
Of
and
course.
significance and a destiny.
Abantu actually know that the name you plug on your child is
Yes.
equivalent to a prayer
Yes, it's a prayer
to the
It's a
universe.
mission
When
that
you say
live
my
up.
child ungumlungisi,
See, I mean that.
it's a prayer.
Ulanga libalele.
Ulanga libalele. Because of the darkness that we find ourselves in
into.
now,
Yes.
we're hoping for
This child
sunlight.
would be that one ray
Yes.
that's gonna just illuminate the whole.
Yes. And that is the phenomenon we get to experience of the youth as Tupac.
Yeah.
And Tupac's life then takes this form of a revolutionary from childhood. He now joins the youth programs
This acting.
in Atlanta, where he comes across the likes of Will Smith's wife, man, Jada, you know, in the youth academies, they're active, they're doing the arts. Now, Pac, through the difficulties of the time, because Afeni was a single mother. I mean, Mutulu was the stepfather in Pac's life. He's arrested, and then he goes away. Tupac's political fire just, hit the road. He's never really been a part of Pac's life.
Hence why when
Yeah.
he was writing Dear Mama.
Yes.
But his father's still alive.
Yeah,
And
he's
he
alive.
looks so much like his dad. He looks so much like his dad.
So Pac's life follows the difficulties of Afeni's single motherhood, and which you will then get to hear in a lot of Pac's music, the difficulties of the time, and Tupac
heart-
is battered.
I think children born in families with less means, or we grew up in locations with less means. You understand that education is your only way out. If you witness your parents getting up at 5, leaving at 5, you want to be closer.
Better.
You want to be closer. So then for Tupac, he takes the experiences of his own home, the hood is in, the crime that he sees, like this is the only way for a black man to make a living. And his music, if you have time,
You listen to Pac's
thoroughly
music, it takes you
understand.
through.
Okay, there are some songs I just think too much for me, too much. Just,
Well, he was a boy, so
yeah, I can't handle this.
there's
But
that
the ones,
material. Yes.
the ones where it's poetic,
He's
and
a revolutionary.
the
yeah.
revolutionary words are coming through.
Yeah.
You just see the depth of this young person.
We have not seen a rapper post Tupac. I mean, I thought Nas would come
Nas
through the
is
ranks.
good. What are you trying to say
Yeah,
about
I'm
Nas?
saying,
Imagine. I'm
look at
offended.
it. Look at it as a throne, right? We have had the Amenhoteps. We have had all the great rulers, and then you end up with the likes of Akhenaten. I'm trying to draw analogies.
No, they say that comparison is a thief of, I do not know what after that, but comparison is a thief of something.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna compare,
And then you have like the Kenyans. I was hoping that the throne would be handed down. They're not like us.
Kendrick is not bad.
Enrique Lamar.
Kendrick is not bad.
But you look at Pac.
Kulu, you are comparing a once. You said in the Dr. Zulu one, in every 100 years, there is a special being that just walks past Earth, and you think, damn, what did you just witness?
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
think Tupac,
Defeated.
yeah,
Hands
Tupac
down.
is 1 in a million.
Guilty as
and
charged. Yeah.
So,
But I
and-
want to tell you about a stint.
Like, wait, hold on. You know, when you compare someone, you are dimming my light because you're saying my light is not as bright as. And I'm not comparing myself to him.
Yeah.
I'm inspired by him to do my work to my best of my ability. So, comparisons kill.
I hear you.
Yes.
In
However,
closing of that
Okay.
of that stanza of
Yes.
comparing, Julius once said,
which one? Nyerere, Malema?
Malema,
Okay.
Julius once said, it took something extraordinary to be a Brenda Fassie or a Dr. Khumalo. Without taking away from a Teko Modise or a Thandi so today. And
they had a belief in knowing that I'm here for a reason.
Yes.
And they will feel my reason. I'll be known. I'll leave a footprint.
Yes. So when he's arrested, and I'm, you know, Koko, I'm a very big fan of Park, right? There's a point where he gets arrested.
How many times was he arrested? Which incident is this? One of the many.
One of the many. I'm gonna get to the birth of Machiavelli, right? Niccolo Machiavelli is an old scholar.
Yes.
Out of Italy.
Yes, Italian scholar.
The Roman scholar.
Yes.
So when Park is arrested, he's exposed to scripts and books.
You see, that's what Malcolm X as well. In prison, it rebirthed or reconnected Malcolm to his need to read and be mentally alive. So Tupac for me he used his prison time to quiet the noise, to reconnect himself and ground himself and say, I'm on purpose. What is the purpose for this?
Amazing. So in his reading, Niccolo Machiavelli comes up.
Yes.
Niccolo Machiavelli is a aristocrat out of Rome, who was also a revolutionary in his own right, because in his time he was a big critic of the Medici family. So the Medici family is like you could say in South Africa we've got the Oppenheimers or the Ruperts. The Medici family.
They all go
on.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
The Medici family are the Ruperts of the time in Rome. They shaped how the societies are structured today. Because Rome has played a big role in how you see a society today. That's where the Vatican comes from. They are behind the Vatican.
The biggest thieves on earth.
Yes.
And continue with life.
People don't grasp this, but the Vatican is it
controls our minds.
The single standing most powerful entity in the world. Because the president submits to the Vatican. During the Atlantic slave trade, they dictated terms on which slavery would be done.
It's a component of
when
the
you
white
read
supremacy.
When you read the manuals, the history around the matriarchs like the Nzingas, you know, the church
played
the influence that the
a
church
role
has
on the slave trade.
You then get to understand the power of the Medici family. Now and their foe at the time becomes Niccolo Machiavelli. And as Tupac reads these manuscripts and the books and the articles, he finds a lot of himself in this Niccolo Machiavelli. He's a man that would not bow down
to nobody,
to the powers of the day at the time in Rome. And he takes up this role to now start challenging the state. That is the United States of America.
Tupac stood on business. Like, he stood on it.
So Pac now becomes Niccolo Machiavelli of America. And he writes an album while in prison, which he titles Machiavelli. And he comes out, we should count ourselves the fortunate to have the likes of Tsietsi, or Tupac, Bob Biko, Peter Mokaba, to have walked ahead of us.
Yeah. To have left whatever, like you can take something from me and make it work for you.
It is a privilege you should never take lightly as I'm no longer a youth.
Yes, as a mentally alive person.
Yes.
You can get inspiration from anyone that said, for me, this is how the black struggle is. And this is the way it could be rectified or resolved or handled or addressed. Take something from me. I think that is why we open up with venerating people in that month, because everyone that walked before us made it easier for us to be who we are today.
And Bomama Winnie, you could never discount Bomama Winnie in the whole scene.
Never ever.
Because they are the moms of the time.
I think Mama Winnie became the face of the 80s. She was
the matriarch.
She was a
The Mataya.
fearless. Fearless.
I still shake in my boots,
Fearless.
thinking of Mom.
Fearless. Like, you know, she was her bravery, her courage. But then when you are pressed, I think for me, there's somewhere in Corinthians. You know, there's a verse in Corinthians, I'm not sure which, but 1 or 2. Being pressed hard and not broken. For
And
me,
unlikely.
that was Umama Winnie. Yeah. There's a verse there in one of the chapters where it speaks about that, being hard pressed but not breaking. She was, I think, you know, they say that pressure, the diamond requires pressure.
Yes.
The
No,
diamond
until
requires pressure.
you start with coal.
Yes.
And over time it's compressed under the earth.
Yes.
And maybe 100 times whatever compression, and then it becomes diamond.
Yes, okay.
And that's
pressure
why
it elevated her into a deity for us. Those who say we are daughters of
now
her,
she's a deity.
of her love.
Today she
We are
stands
daughters
tall.
of her love. Yeah.
She stands tall. Mama Winnie can never be discounted in the commemorations. And you know, because of time and all of that, we will only touch on a few, but there are many.
Plenty, faceless.
Faceless.
For me, cool. You know what I always say, that the Tsiyetis
Bomakubo.
were the brother, with the booties in every location. So when
The brotherhood.
there was something in growing up having ubuti elokishini that kept order. Booties and sissies kept order. They knew, but we could not be seen doing these things in their presence. So when
Well, of course they'll call you to order.
yes, from the 80s, so there was a breaking in the fragment of communities with them leaving for exile. And there was never a recovery of Booty, Sisi Milokish. Everybody wants, I think when 94 came, everybody was tired of the responsibility of being responsible. We just became,
Everyone wanted to go back home and,
you know, like,
and sign on the dotted
it
line.
was Kwaito was happening.
And
We
gave
became
away a lot.
an accumulation of, we forgot that the Booties left and they left a void. And no one is filling the void.
And that's why it irks me.
Crime Elokishini Mkhulu was minimal because there were Booties there.
They were stalwarts.
There were men and women who just did not accept children walking late to school. There was, you know, it takes a community to raise it. It takes a village.
It takes a village, Gog.
The 80s broke that an injury to one.
It takes a village.
So we need to return to that mindset.
We need to go back.
All booty are required, all sis are required. You were never gonna walk around with smoking as a child.
No, you got clapped. And your mom won't ask questions.
Because they knew that
Yes.
you are reprimanding my child
Yes.
because our phone abe wrong
Yes.
in their future.
Yes.
Right now we're smoking, or people smoke.
Snorting all sorts of things.
It's smoking with
Walking
there's
around.
no more a segregation of this age group cannot be friends with that.
No.
It's
going to take us back to Amasiko of rites of passage.
yeah.
If we reinstall all that back, then we know all Puti are in charge of the younger ones.
Yes.
They wait until their regiments goes through that rite, and then they are now
They can
older.
transfer
Yes.
certain things, yeah.
So we need to restore a lot, Gogo.
Yeah, there's a lot that is required to be returned, and
Emasizweni,
yes, like there's a void, and
a massive one.
our youth, they need to truly return to understanding that they are the future, and we as parents, what are we preparing our kids for when we don't tell them that it's hard being a black child without education? Even with the education, like we were taught that education is your freedom, is the key. Now our kids are unemployed with degrees. Our children are home with degrees. The same class of 76 died for this education. They had the education, they're unemployed.
They're unemployed.
There is so much less.
It's painful,
It's
Gogo.
painful to be black.
It's painful to be black. Gogo, as we go towards our closing, what would you say the youth today should do, which you would deem honoring the youth of 1976? What should they be doing?
Gosh, I would go to town. I would love to believe the
Give
youth,
us like
the youth of 76 wasn't as much into drugs, wasn't much into drinking, smoking, taverns. In 76,
They didn't walk around with their pants halfway.
remember there was a children. They had their after school party at a tavern and they died in the Eastern Cape.
The Kirsten K.
Yes,
Not Ngolobeni. What was it?
somewhere close.
Yeah.
Yeah. The children of 76 would have been embarrassed that our parents are working this hard. They are earning this little to send us to school. And this is how we are taking
drink.
this is how
We
are
fall
spending,
pregnant
we
in
are
class.
spending their hard-earned money on booze. But then again, the entire community was anti-kids drinking, anti-kids. A lot changed after 94 amongst communities. The parenting of another person's child just fell apart. I can now sell cigarettes to a child because I'm poor and I need the money.
I can sell a cigarette to a child. Seeing him as a child.
And
Because I need the money, I'll just sell him.
yeah, like we became blind.
So
to
the rot
ills.
is across the community.
There's like we owe every child that didn't come home, who left in the 80s. We owe I think
I saw Mackenzie, there's a headline on the news now. Mackenzie is pumping up the efforts to go fetch them. We'll see how far they go. But then again, they must do it the right way.
the ancestral, not just bringing the bones without.
Yeah,
doing
because
the rituals.
what we saw in recent times.
Yes, last month, 2 months ago.
Yeah, that was just a TV show,
I
basically.
don't know. The bodies needed to be repatriated for burial, but the ancestral part was not done. So the spirit of the people are still there.
They were left
Still need to
behind.
be there.
Then
So-
it must be done again.
Yes, it has
So
to
do
be
it
done
properly.
Again. Yeah, do it properly.
Yeah.
Like completely from start to finish. Yeah. So there's a lot we owe
To
everybody.
Tsibo,
Everybody
Hector.
that didn't come home. Everybody that bled for where we are today. So we owe them that much.
But Charlie, June 16 is just a day on which it all came tumbling down. It was a build-up
Build up.
of months.
Build up.
And yes, we commemorate June 16 because that's when people were gunned down and it all happened. But they should be celebrated every day. We should honor them daily.
But there should be a pledge among
In
the
our
youth.
daily living, in our daily activities, we should behave in such that they will make them proud. You know, they will hang their heads in shame if they look at these pregnancy stats in schools today, the drinking in schools, the
bullying,
stabbings.
the bullying in schools,
Our teachers are
the lack of brotherhood and sisterhood.
lack of respect.
for the teachers.
Our parents.
Like when you come across videos of children in school,
Drunk.
disrespecting
Others having
teachers.
sex. They're on video.
Okay, have you seen those? It's the bullying and the disrespect.
And the snorting of things
Yes,
on
yeah.
school desks.
So it's like
And wearing skirts that are here. We're just behaving in a way that just infuriates me.
we live a blind life. Like we're not
We've
accountable.
given up.
Like we're not accountable to them. You don't Khulu. I know that I am sounding like a broken record. Utata uKhade always says,
Ubhungane.
ukuthi mkhulu,
Ungelenge.
Stubelise. He always says spirituality is the one thing that is to be fixed in an African's life. Because when you're spiritual, all things that are not healthy and clean become, I cannot do this because of them. I come from a stock of ancestors, and this behavior, action will be disrespectful to them. And right now, I'm the living vessel of them. So if we cannot comprehend that message, that spirituality is the only way of restoring and reconnecting and returning, you're gonna miss why Tata Khatem is alive in these spaces in right now. So spirituality for
That's
me
wrong.
is the only
Is
way.
everything.
Is everything.
asibuyele masizwe a re boeleng setsong sa gabo rena. Let's go back. Let us just go back, because on the path we are on right now is that we just headed for destruction.
Complete.
We're going nowhere very fast. So yeah, it's a thing. There's never you'll never do it enough. So I think we're gonna leave it there. Go. You've had your parting shot. You satisfied?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So Batlali, live your daily thinking about the lives they gave.
The remembrance,
Yes.
the honor.
Yes. We
Being
hope
answerable,
you
being
see
accountable.
their faces here. There's a million of them, and many of them still faceless, without a name. I went to that Freedom Park there the other day. It's a couple of names in there. It's not a resemblance of the people that have given their life. It is symbolic, and we appreciate the symbolism. But there are millions that you've never had their names spoken of in radio. So we
We were supposed to speak about Makubo. He's him passing away.
Makubo.
We do not know who he is. The
Yeah,
family.
Makubo is the guy who's carrying Hector Peterson in the picture. Hardly ever spoken about. Never been buried. We don't know where he is. And there are many. So it is not. Like I said, we appreciate the symbolism, but there are many.
Yeah.
Many. So Coco, it's yeah. We can never talk enough about the youth of 76, of
Their
82s, 85,
the
86.
80s, the 80s.
Yes.
So they inspired the youth of the 80s.
Yes.
The Bikos inspired them. The Sobukwe's inspired the Bikos and things like that. So
Yeah. So
it's like it's a counting equation.
it is.
Yeah, counting equation.
Live your life with them in memory. They've given their life for you, so you can have a voice. You know. So we're gonna leave it there today, but it's a work in progress. It's a work specimen. It's in a workshop. We'll get back to it every time we get time. So Stokos Coco, Batlali, thanks. All of them.
Yeah. We wouldn't be where we are without
We
the
wouldn't be.
sacrifices. So we keep thanks.
So yeah, Stokozini. Sintanda nonke makhaya.